Shadow and Bone Season 2 has been out for about a week now. Here are 5 things that I loved about the show and 5 things that I didn't really love about the show. Spoiler alert for Shadow and Bone Season 2. So starting off with things I didn't like, number 5, we have no Harshaw and Oncat. Now this one is a little bit nitpicky because I think I do understand why Harshaw and Oncat weren't in it. There are a lot of characters in Season 2. And now that I'm studying film, I'm definitely getting more of an understanding on why changes are made with adaptations. It is never going to be the same as the book. They're different mediums. But because we are not completely done with Mal and Alina, that doesn't mean we won't ever see them. Number 4 is that end scene, setting up the Judah Perem with Alina, because this isn't Alina's story. This is a Crow storyline. The initial setup for the Judah Perem in Six Crows is with Juiced, or Joust, or however his name is said. Number 3, which I don't see that many people talking about, is Bagratelli Mal. He's the amplifier. I just really liked how Mal and Alina realized it themselves. It was a great moment because it just all clicked together and made sense after all that foreshadowing previously. Number 2, knock off Zoya, the Darkling's Grisha. You guys know who I'm talking about, knock off Zoya. And it's fine that she's a new character, but it's just the way that her wardrobe and makeup are done. Like her hair and her makeup just looks so ridiculous. And the whole army in particular is bad. It just seems so tacky. Like some of those fight scenes where they were like, I don't know, holding their arms like this, it felt so like cringy. One of the Grisha, I remember when they throw the bomb at her, she's like, uh-oh. Like it felt so like comedic almost. And I was like, okay, this is a little much. Number 1, which I think is what is upsetting everyone, is the ending. Making Mal and Alina be separated. Making Mal be the new Stormhond. And Alina, the Queen of Ravka. I'm still not quite sure if she's the Queen of Ravka. But I don't like that one bit. I love Mal and Alina's ending in the book. And it just felt unnecessary to separate them. It feels like they want to be done with the Shadow and Bone storyline so they can go to Six Crows, but they don't want to lose Mal and Alina. Their story is done with, and I know they don't want to lose the actors, but why? Just seeing Alina in the crown and doing the cut, it was like, no, you're not supposed to be queen. Okay, now here is 5 things I loved about the show. Number 5, we have Mal and Nikolai's relationship. The show just nailed it. They portrayed it so perfectly. It was just like the books. And I just really appreciate that they did that because that relationship tends to be very underlooked by fans of the books. And sometimes when there are adaptations of books, they take the fanon interpretation and run with that. But no, the show stayed loyal to that book interpretation. Now I think it's being much more appreciated by the fan base, which I really like because it's funny, like how Nikolai forgets Mal's name. Number 4, Haz's backstory. They did such a good job at showing it and showing his trauma. The flashes between him as a kid touching those dead bodies and him scrubbing his hand off, the cuts between that, it was so good. That's how you do storytelling through editing. Freddie Carter was so great as Kaz. Fantastic. For number 3, we have Tolia and Tamar. The casting for Tolia and Tamar were so good. The moment they showed up, their introduction with the slow motions of their characters and their weapons, and they just portrayed them so perfectly. Like Tolia's poetry lines, they were so fun just to have on screen. I loved every moment they were on screen. It was so awesome. It made me really appreciate those characters because they're very underappreciated characters, but now that we're seeing them in live action, I think they're gonna get some more appreciation by Grishaverse fans, and I really am happy about that, and I hope there's more great things with those characters to come. For number 2, we have Daisy Head as Genya. Genya is my favorite Shadow and Bone character. To see her portrayal in Season 2 just go above and beyond was fantastic. I was a little skeptical of her as Genya in Season 1. I think her acting was good, but she didn't quite look how much I imagined Genya, which I looked past, but she did phenomenal in Season 2. Just they did not gloss over Genya's storyline, and I'm so glad they didn't because you feel her trauma, and it made me want to cry. It was done so well. Daisy Head was fantastic. And number 1, the thing I love the most, and if you know me, you probably know what it's going to be, Jack Wolf as Wylan. Wylan is my favorite Grishaverse character. I remember reading Six of Crows when I was 18 and falling in love with Wylan. And seeing Jack Wolf portray him in a way that just felt like Wylan, like they just took him directly off the page. It was fantastic. I was so upset Wylan wasn't in Season 1, and I was so scared about his casting, but Jack Wolf is Wylan. He portrays him so perfectly. We really need the Six of Crows spinoff because we need to delve into Wylan's backstory. It was so good. Jack Wolf as Wylan just makes me so happy. The thought and care he put into that character, like you watch interviews with him, he knows the books. He composed music to play as Wylan.